My name is Dr. Albert Smith. I was born in Peterborough, not far from where we're standing right now. I was the fifth of 12 children. Winters were long and cold then. My Smith ancestry stretches right back to the founding of Peterborough. And my father, Samuel Smith, was a very important and influential businessman in town. At a fairly young age, he built the first mill in town, the Phoenix Mill, right downtown, originally for the manufacture of paper and later cotton. He added a number of other businesses in that area and became so influential that it came to be known as Smithville or Smith's Village. His grave is right there, and you can see it says on it, the founder of this village. Now, my earliest education was in a one-room schoolhouse here, but there was no secondary education available at the time, so I attended the Groton Academy in Massachusetts, preparing for college. Unfortunately, when I was graduated from Groton, my father's business finances had declined. Due to the War of 1812 having ended, the market was flooded with British products, and my father was unable to afford to send me to college. So I worked at the mill, superintending cotton spinning for several years, and then finally in 1821, I was able to attend college and went to Dartmouth College. I graduated in 1825 and was honored to give an oration on the navigation of the Connecticut River, which I could share with you. I returned to Peterborough and worked as a clerk in my father's mill for several years. And then in 1828, disaster struck. A fire started in a small wooden stove in the attic of the mill, and the mill was a totally wooden structure, 200 feet long, and it burned to the ground. Unfortunately, my father had let his insurance lapse, and he lost everything. His businesses were broken up and sold at auction, and he never again engaged in business. Now, one good thing that happened in 1828 was my marriage to Fidelia Stearns of Jaffrey. She blessed me with 3 children, one of whom, Frederick, followed me into medicine later, but died sadly at the age of 26. Now, upon the collapse of my father's business in town, that's when I decided to go into medicine. I was accepted at Dartmouth Medical College, graduated from there in 1833. I first practiced in Leominster, Massachusetts for several years, and then returned to Peterborough because, well, I was homesick. And I practiced medicine for many, many decades in Peterborough. Many of the people you see around you here were patients of mine. The fact that they're here Also, at the time, I was moderator at town meeting for several years and was quite involved with the Peterborough Lyceum, which is an institution founded by Dr. Abiel Abbott, whose grave you will see as you pass on to your next station here. Dr. Abbott was originally a teacher and later a minister. In 1828, he founded the Lyceum as a forum for the discussion of important educational and economic topics. And that Lyceum still exists today, although in a slightly different format in the summers. Dr. Abbott was also very important in the founding of the Peterborough Town Library, a library paid for by the people and open to anyone in town, the first such library of its kind in the country. Now, my declining years were spent in the writing of the first history of the town of Peterborough. A massive volume, as you can see. This is a copy of it here, published in the centennial year, 1876. It took several years and was completed in 1876. And having completed my life's work, I left this mortal coil 2 years later. I would like to close now with a little bit from the preface to the book. This book now goes forth in the centennial year as the last and only tribute we can pay to the fathers who were on the stage a century ago. It is with regret we say that perhaps the best part of their history is unrelated, having passed out of the recollection of anyone living. Yet what little we have saved is now put into a permanent form for another century. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Your next